Everyone's going to be wanting to try to buy this Lambo for $35,000, and they're going to, try to cannonball it and try to put a bunch of miles on it and turn it into a pontoon and destroy it and 4x4 it. I mean, you can do all kinds of crazy stuff to it. Hey, I'm Sean Mathis. I'm the founder of Miles Through Time Automotive Museum, which is located up in Clarksville, Georgia, about an hour and a half just northeast of Atlanta. This museum is pretty unique. I actually started the museum back in 2017 in its original location. And as of 2020, the museum was moved to its current location, which is located inside of the old Clarksville mill. Now, when we moved it over to this location, the museum became a 501c3 nonprofit, and we were able to build a whole lot of exhibits in here, like the town you see in the background, and really embrace the whole concept of over 100 years worth of automotive history on display, and having the ability to learn from these cars in history. And the thing is there's no wealthy benefactor behind this museum. I started this thing with only one car, and that was my grandpa's 1959 Cadillac Coupe de Ville. And there's actually a VinWiki story where I share my story about me getting my grandpa's car back in 2018, I think it was, when I first met Ed shortly after I had started this museum in the first place. So if you want to see that and learn a little bit more about the history of me even receiving my grandpa's car, which led to this whole museum, definitely check out that VinWiki story. I'll have the link to it in the comments or in the description section below. But that leads me to where we are today. So when we first opened this museum, we had more space than we did in the old location. So I reached out to Ed and I was like, dude, we need something that is going to help draw the younger generation and get them interested in these cars. And so I knew about his Cannonball car collection, obviously. So I asked him, I was like, hey man, you interested in putting your cars in the museum so people could actually see them? And he's like, yeah, I was actually thinking of something similar at the same time. So it worked out, and then all the COVID crap happened. And, at the time, his cars, his CL was the record holder and had been for years. But by the time we had the conversation of moving the car in there to actually getting in here, getting it on display, the record got broken a ton of times. But nevertheless, the car is still super cool to see, and a bunch of people have come into the museum specifically to see his cars. Now, this is my Pop's 59 Cadillac Coupe de Ville. So this is the only car out of all the vehicles you see in here that is personally mine. Most of the cars belong to individuals. Now, you do have a few vehicles in here that have been donated to the museum. That car right there, the little hot rod magazine go-kart, that was donated to the museum by the Peterson Museum out in LA. You've got this Studebaker Golden Hawk, just a 1958 Golden Hawk. This was donated to the museum, one of about less than 900 cars ever made. You got a Ford Ghia Arioso concept car in the background there. That one was donated to the museum. But you got a lot of family heirloom cars and, cars like this Galaxy that was his dad's car just sitting in the basement. So you got a lot of variety in here that is appealing to people that are into cars in general. I mean, we even got one of Bill Elliott's Thunderbat cars that was donated to the museum, which is cool. But you got Ed's Cannonball CL. You got the other infamous Mercedes here, the 2904. These cars are completely different from everything else on display in the museum, which is really cool because I either get people that totally know Ed and follow his VinWiki channel, and they find out that these cars are here and specifically come here to see these cars in person, or you get the old guys that immediately want to know, like, why are these cars in here? And then you read the story that goes with them, and then it all starts to make sense and it ties it into the whole world. So that leads me to my point of why this video, I'm even making this video, and that is the VinWiki Cheap Lambo. that he's got. So my plea here is everyone's going to be wanting to try to buy this Lambo for $35,000, and they're going to, try to cannonball it and try to put a bunch of miles on it and turn it into a pontoon and destroy it and 4x4 it. I mean, you can do all kinds of crazy stuff to it. My intention would be to have the car become a part of the permanent collection here at Miles Through Time. So just like the Studebaker I showed you, and the go-kart and the concept car and the NASCAR, those are the cars that Miles Through Time, the 501c3 nonprofit, own. Now, I personally, I'm not trying to buy the car myself. I am looking to do it for the museum. So we're actually, like I said, there's no wealthy benefactor behind this museum. So we will start a fundraising campaign to try to get the car from Ed and how Sway works and all that kind of stuff. So however it works, but I'm going to need your help to make it so that you want it to come here. And the reason everyone's going to want that Lambo to come here is that this is going to be your only option to be able to see this car in person. Not only will you see it, you can touch it. It's the museum's car. It's not a privately owned car where we don't let you sit in the car or touch these people's, because they're people's cars, So if the owner was in here and they were letting you do it, that's one thing. But as a general rule, you don't do it. But with it being a museum car, just like that NASCAR, we let the kids jump inside of it and take their pictures and that kind of stuff. This Lambo would fall into that category. This would be a car that, people that have never even seen a Lamborghini in person, and believe me, there's some of them that'll come in here, or sat in it or touched it or whatever, they could do that here. And not only could they get their pictures taken in the car and learn the story, which is incredible, not to mention it's Ed's old car and goes with his collection here. We can pull it out of the museum. We're actually under construction. This blue tarp is opening up the wall, and you see the white ceiling in the background. We're expanding the museum into that whole section as well. So we actually have a lot more room to come in here. And this car would totally diversify the museum. As you can see, we don't really have any, exotic cars. There's no Italian cars right now. And, that's what the younger generation wants. And I've been asked multiple times, my son who turns 13 in November, that's the car he would want to see. And so if that's what the people want to see, and that's a car that we can really let them get involved with, that then sends them down the path of being automotive enthusiasts, that's fantastic. I think it belongs here. It's one of those things where if that Lamborghini is what gets them here to this museum, that then enables them to embrace, the over 100 years of automotive history we have on display, and sets them down a path of keeping this whole world alive and being into cars. That's what it's all about. So my plea is that the Cheap Lambo comes to Miles Through Time Automotive Museum in Clarksville, Georgia, and it's enjoyed by everybody. This isn't a car that's going to belong to me. This isn't a car that's going to belong to any other individual. This is a car that's going to become a permanent part of the Miles Through Time Automotive Museum's collection, and is going to be something that we can use to promote the museum. Maybe we'll take it to events. We could take it to Caffeine and Octane super easy, and give rides around in the parking lot. We could do all kinds of things with this car, and honestly, unless somebody else has a Lamborghini or a Ferrari or something like that, and it's like, yeah, go ahead and put it in the museum, and I don't care who messes with it, the odds of a car like that being on display in here is just slim to none. So the opportunity to get this car and have it in here on display, have people read about the story, have people be able to embrace it, get their pictures taken with it. The museum's open all year long, 7 days a week. So you get on board and you're like, yeah, let's get it in Miles Through Time Automotive Museum. Chances are you'll have an opportunity to sit in it, get your pictures taken with it. If not, take it for a ride with us. All right, so milesthroughtime.com. It's Miles Through Time on all social media as well to follow us. And I'll put all the links to everything about everything that we do here. And hopefully you'll see it here.